I'd call to order this meeting of the Broome County Industrial Development Agency of May 20th, 2025. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the April 16th, 2025 board meeting. Thank you, Dan. Is there a second? Thank you, Dan. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Come to the part of our agenda where we have our public comment session. Anybody wish to speak on any matter concerning the IDA, please state your name and address for the record and limit your comments, if you will, to 5 minutes.
I'm from Binghamton. Anybody been by lately? Anything new going on here? Here is a form that you're familiar with, everybody in the county, from high to low, patronage, elected officials, yourselves, put forth this ethics form, this ethics disclosure form. And I know that you're not responsible for the enforcement of the county ethics law, but I find this interesting. This is stamped 2023. It's Stacy Duncan's financial disclosure. Everybody knows that Stacy is on numerous boards, nonprofit agencies, including, I guess, serving with some of you. So residential address. This building is a residence. Spouses and children, not listed. Financial interests, business positions, including nonprofits, boards of directors, not applicable. The whole thing is non-applicable. Signed and dated. This is the 2023 stamp dated. Now, how the heck can you have an executive director that refuses to disclose even her home address, none of her associations with nonprofits, additional income at the time, Chamber of Commerce, not disclosed, nothing. Now, there's all kinds of non-applicables. I think this is a case of not applicable to her because she's Stacy Duncan. This is outrageous. It's uncalled for. I looked at all your forms. I didn't see this. In fact, I think I complimented Mayor Bucci on his form. I may have, fastidious guy. So what that's going on? She serves on board. She's not listing them. I've looked at everybody's. I've looked at Newman's, Mark Newman's. I've looked at Kathy Connerton's. This is ridiculous. Okay, the website, tens of thousands of dollars, I guess you pay for the website. IBM has been gone lock, stock, and barrel since October 23. It's still on the website as being a company here. Maine's Paper and Food went bankrupt 5 years ago, and it's still on the website. You think you're getting value for all that money you're spending on the website? Is this excellence that you have companies that have left the area on the website as being here when they're not, including one that declared one of the biggest bankruptcies in the history of Broome County? Hey, give me a break. Sloppy. So I'm having trouble when where it's a BLDC meeting for the Broome Local Development. The justification of that agency was that nonprofit activity would be handled by the local development corporation, civic projects, nonprofit, and you wouldn't handle nonprofit activity anymore here. And that's what was stated I remember that from a prior meeting. So now you're giving IDA money to a nonprofit, Riverhurst Cemetery. Let's talk about the three characters. Let's talk about character. Now, a woman put a decorative Christmas tree last Christmas in 2024, and she put one there in 2023. She went into the office and she was told, well, we're not responsible for this tree. You shouldn't have put it there. Well, what she did different in 2024 is she put Apple AirTags there.
You have 1 minute.
Apple AirTags. And guess where they found the Christmas tree that wasn't there, that nobody knew anything about? In the Pennsylvania home of the director of Riverhurst Cemetery. I mean, think about that one. Interstate grave robbery, of a decorative Christmas tree. Now, I would say if you're concerned about character, if you're gonna lend $300,000 to this person, you better find out if she made good on the and find out why that Christmas tree that couldn't be found, that little decorative Christmas tree ended up on her property in Pennsylvania. And she's a public official in Little Meadows, I believe. So that's a good question to ask. Let's hear an explanation before you go and give $300,000 to somebody that robs things off graves.
Thank you, John. Would anybody else like to speak at this public comment session? We'll call this session to a close. Executive Director's report. Stacy.
Good afternoon. A few things to update the board on. We are still in the process of our operational audit with the APO. They were in town last week. They did interview 3 of the 9 board members. We expect they will be in market at least one more time to collect information. We're doing a lot of email and share file documentation. As soon as we are aware of any additional requests for board interviews, we will make sure you're all aware. More to come on that. Working to close the NIPEN Trade Center and the Sun Development, which is the Main Street in Johnson City project, ideally by the end of June. With regard to NIPEN, to put on the board's radar, the Broome County has approved funds of $250,000 to support part of this project through the fit out of space for Broome Tioga BOCES, who plans to do about approximately 90 LPN training spots at the Trade Center facility. The county has requested the LDC serve once again as grant administrator for those funds. So we anticipate a meeting next month to move that process along. Our application, a few months ago, I think in March, the Audit and Finance Committee and subsequently the board approved $75,000 to be used to complete a strategic plan and feasibility study for the modernization of the Huron campus. We've applied to New York State for the SPFS, Strategic Plan and Feasibility Study Program, for match dollars for that effort. We have been told one of the first steps is the REDC, the Regional Economic Development Council for the region, has to sign off or endorse our application. We've been told they have done that, and so we're awaiting final approval by ESD. We expect to know by mid-June. We are also submitting, Amy's working on a phase 1 URI, Upstate Revitalization Initiative application to pursue match funding for planning initiative for a regional workforce training center. Again, these were funds the board approved in March of this year at $150,000. If approved, we'll be issuing a RFQ, request for qualifications for consultant to help develop a concept for a regional workforce training facility somewhere in the greater Binghamton area. So more to come on that. Some important studies coming up with the Broome Tech Park, including EDR will be doing a noise assessment analysis, and Ramble and CJS will be conducting geotechnical analyses. We're confirming the schedule on our call today, and we'll share with the board and both towns so they can, so they'll be aware of the activity at the location. And I think that was all I had. Any questions?
Thank you, Stacy. Any questions for Stacy? Got a chance to look at the internal financial report as of, and for the period ended April 30th. Any questions for Stacy on that? Loan activities report. You've had a chance, I presume, to review that. Any questions for Natalie on that? Any update, Natalie?
No update.
Yep. On the new business, resolution number 6, resolution approving a $259,950 loan request from Riverhurst Memorial Association Incorporated from the Southern Tier East Economic Development SPEED loan program to purchase and install a certain crematory at 2500 East Main Street in the town of Union, Hamlet of Enwell, Broome County, New York, as recommended by the SPEED Advisory Loan Committee. Natalie, you want to take us through that?
Thank you, John. I have 2 things to discuss before we get into the loan. I'd like to begin by addressing the agency's current policy of setting STEED, BDF, and BRNE rates at 75% of prime. I'm proposing a reduction to a fixed rate of 3%. It would significantly enhance program accessibility, particularly for small and underserved businesses. A 3% fixed rate with lower borrowing costs, encourage long-term investment, improve repayment performance, and position us as a more competitive and supportive partner in advancing regional economic growth. This proposal aligns with our mission, and the flexibility is provided within all of the loan guidelines. Therefore, I'm requesting authorization to present loans with a reduced interest rate on a case-by-case basis for your review and approval. No resolution is needed. I just want to let you know that and bring the interest rate, the 3%, on a case-by-case basis.
Are there questions for Natalie on that?
Yeah, I do. So what is the, do we have a current rate now?
Well, it's 75% of current of prime.
75% of prime.
So it's running about 5.6%.
Okay. And so we're talking about reducing it for this project to 3,
Correct,
but other projects, it may vary
correct.
between 5 and.
Correct.
I mean, doesn't that kind of get us into muddy waters a little bit? I mean, how do we determine who gets a 3%, who gets a 5%? I think I have a problem with that, to be honest with you. If you wanted to lower it to 3 for everybody,
I mean, we can.
I mean,
I
it's up to, I can't see having it variable based on project.
I think typically the process would be the loan would go through the advisory loan committee who can make that recommendation to the board on a case-by-case basis, but ultimately that could fall on the board, or it could be a uniform.
I just think it's hard to justify giving somebody 3 and then somebody
Even if someone
5.
else is, it's opening a can that we don't wanna open, I don't think.
Yeah, I think
Like-
I think things
like
have
Rick
precedent.
said, we wanna lower the whole thing down, something else for everybody, then that's.
Yeah,
What's
That's
the
fine.
criteria for deciding what their interest rate would be?
You know, we really don't.
Usually
have
based on
set-
risk, right?
Based
Peter
on.
does that
yeah.
for a living. I mean, you underwrite the risk, right? And
Yeah,
that's
it
what
seems
does the rate. I mean,
Yeah.
he does it for a living.
He's got a great
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you gotta be.
but then you have to do some in-depth research on the risk then.
Yeah. Underwrite the financial.
So what's the risk here? Have we done an analysis on risk for this one?
I think the recommendation on the 3% would be on credit rating and
I completely understand what you're saying. I mean, we can, I guess, maybe we could do a resolution if you wanted, like, next.
Yeah, I
week.
just think that we should be, I just think we should be
Or-
consistent if we have a loan or if we're giving loans out to business people.
Sure.
It would look like to change, to determine different rates would be, I think. It's still.
I think the rationale is, you know, we have, but most of our loan pools are healthy right now. The credit environment is still challenging. Our role as sort of a secondary lender has always been to take on loans that have maybe a more higher level of risk than what a
Well, that's
traditional
fine, but I think,
financer.
it's not, yeah, but you have the
Right.
interest rate the same for everybody.
So what I'm thinking is, with regard to this particular case and future cases, we should probably have the loan committee review as a policy that we can come back to the board with if to review, if any recommended changes would be made.
I'll just offer, I'm going
Yeah.
to abstain from this vote, but I'll just offer that there is an evaluation of the credit and the project within the packet. And I think it's also an inducement for the company, so commercially, I suspect they're viable to get this financing. This is a more attractive sort of community benefit for them to get a below market rate. 3% is a below market rate.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's the purpose that we're serving here. They could go to a bank, I suspect, and get this financial.
Another question, their ability to repay the loan is obviously dependent upon their cash flow projections. So, they came up with projecting 489 cases per year. What are those projections based on? Did they do some kind of a market
They
study?
did,
They did,
they
okay.
did, yes.
Okay.
Yep,
And you saw that?
yes.
Yeah.
I'll get to them.
So
Sorry,
they're
this is
hoping
free
more
that.
people die.
Well,
They're not hoping, but more people are going,
Yeah.
people are dying.
Someone's done this math already, huh?
And there's like.
I don't wanna
40
touch that.
Yeah, I didn't even get, I have a lot more to present. Yeah, no, just one little piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
We need to resolve.
it's a recommendation from this board to set the rate fixed. Is that what we're, we're telling Natalie to consider? Cause it's gotta go.
Consider it,
You
yeah.
wanna make the motion?
You making a motion?
I'm asking.
I don't even think we need a motion. I think it.
I
the
think
Steve
that
board is the
makes
one that
sense.
This-
Decides this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should tell the Steve board, we're troubled by the flexibility that
Sure.
may exist.
Sure,
Yeah.
okay.
Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
There's
Other
not
than
a
Peter.
lot of
We're not a-
demand for this.
Because you're the
anymore, is
extra.
there?
We're not opposing a lower rate, but we
Right.
just
Yeah.
wanna make it standard for.
Correct. But the
All-
policy recommendation is
Yeah.
to make it across the board versus case by case. Okay.
But for the time being, if that's what it's at, it can be adjusted at any time.
Okay.
Thank you.
If it were the 5%, they wouldn't need to come here, right?
5% is still below market.
Close.
Or
Just.
It's about 5.6%.
5.6, 5.7 right now.
I also want to address, recent changes by the, Appalachian Regional Commission, ARC, the original, supporter of these loan funds. They've shifted full administration authority of the Steed Loan Fund to the agency. As a result, the loan program guidelines have been updated to permit lending to eligible not-for-profit organizations. This expansion enables the Steed Loan Fund to support a broader range of economic development initiatives while maintaining responsible fund management. Recognizing that not-for-profit operates differently from traditional businesses, the underwriting process has also been adjusted. Rather than focusing primarily on profitability, greater emphasis is placed on the organization's financial stability, the strength of its programs, and its overall impact to the community. Now I will present.
Does the Appalachian Regional Commission have any criteria that so many jobs, X number of jobs have to be created?
Not
Right.
anymore. I mean,
Not
it's.
anymore, used to, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, all of our reporting requirements have been, I guess
Basically eliminated.
expired, so the funds are essentially unencumbered
Yeah,
by
there
the
are
ARC.
some. So, yeah, so it's
Okay.
really nice.
So you don't have to report to the federal government on this? Oh, okay.
Yeah, usually you would have to get permission beforehand,
Yeah.
before I can even
I
present it.
remember.
Yeah.
That's a couple years ago, at least two, maybe more.
So you have before you a $259,950 Steed loan request from Riverhurst Memorial Association, Inc. to assist in the purchase and installation of a crematory facility at 2500 East Main Street in Well, New York. The project includes the acquisition of a cremation retort, site preparation, utility enhancements, and initial operating capital. Verbal commitments from local funeral homes confirm strong regional demand. As it stands, there's only one other crematory in Broome County, and that's Allen's Funeral Home. There's been a lot of misconceptions where people, it says they do cremations, but a lot of them are sent out to Allen's, and it seems to be, the majority are going to Pennsylvania. So this would be really nice to have another crematory in Broome County. Founded in 1911, Riverhurst Cemetery is a non-denominational cemetery servicing the Southern Tier region. Facilities include mausoleums, lawn crypts, monuments, and memorials. Governed by a 4-member board of directors, Riverhurst remains committed to a long-term financial stability and community service. The loan will finance crematory equipment and installation, site preparation and utility upgrades, initial operating capital. The project costs $259,950, is 100% funded, would be 100% funded by the Steed loan. Traditionally, applicants are expected to contribute 10% of equity as part of project participation. However, in this case, the ALC and I recommend that Riverhurst be exempt from this requirement based on the unique structure and strength of its overall financing plan. Riverhurst is currently in the process of securing a loan from M&T Bank to acquire the adjacent residential property that will house the new crematory facility. This separate loan fully covers the real estate acquisition component of the project, thereby relieving Steed from the need to finance the property itself. Our funding will be used solely for the equipment purchase, utility work, and startup operations. Projected crematory net income of $153,696, and the projected 2025 operating net income of $171,706 annually. Riverhurst debt service ratio is 3.91, which shows a strong capacity to service the debt. The crematory will initially be operated by the existing staff of 5 full-time employees, with the expectation that a full-time operator will be hired as volumes increase. The project will comply with all local and state environmental standards, including DEC and EPA regulations. Riverhurst has received all permits and approvals from the town of Union and the New York State Cemetery Board. Based on the comprehensive financial review and forecasted project income, the ALC and I recommend approval of the $259,950 ski loan request from Riverhurst Memorial Association. Project presents low risk and high community value.
Looking for a motion?
I have a question. I'll go ahead
Go,
and
go get your kids. Vote, is that a motion, Mayor?
the motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Elaine. Discussion.
The equity part again, can you go over that again?
Yeah.
Does there usually requirements to put equity into the
10%
project?
annually, yes,
And you're recommending that they be exempt from that?
correct.
Okay, and for what reason?
Because they're purchasing, they're getting another loan through M&T to purchase the building. So we wouldn't need to provide a loan for that.
Right. So have we exempted other people from the equity?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
No, I just want to make sure we're
Yep.
consistent
Yep.
on what we're doing here
For sure.
in
Yep.
regards
Yep.
to,
And this is a little different being a not-for-profit. It's the first one we've ever
Right.
done the underwriting for, so they are structured a little bit different.
no, I understand that. I mean, like with the interest and
Yep.
the same thing with
Yep.
equity.
Yep.
Question.
Yeah, their skin in the game is that they bought the building and they bought the property.
Right, okay.
They're buying the property, they're gonna build a building, right? They're gonna build a building.
Correct.
The house it.
Well, they're remodeling the building, they're purchasing, yes.
So I just want to make a comment. It's not that I'm against this, but as I look at this, we're giving a nonprofit, putting them in business, competing against a business that pays taxes, right? At a substantially lower, or at an interest rate substantially below market. So my question is, if I'm sitting in Allen Funeral Home shoes, I'm saying, well, can I come to this organization and get the same thing? So this is some of the stuff I do struggle with.
Sure.
We have longstanding businesses that are been paying their taxes, doing their thing. And, I just don't wanna create a really unfair competitive advantage, and I think sometimes, I know myself, I need to think more deeper about that sometimes, And I know this is a small thing, but just philosophically, that's what I always wrestle with. About someone putting a competitor on the corner for me with some of these programs that I don't have access to. So that's just a comment I want to make. It's not that I think it's a bad thing.
Working for a financial institution that
Yeah.
competes with not-for-profits, I get that.
Yeah.
Natalie, so my understanding is that there's actually New York state law, I think, where the Allen's crematory sunsets.
Okay,
And so the community needs
yeah,
It does.
that's
another
good.
crematory.
If it does
So
help,
I think
Yep,
that
that makes me
is,
feel
that is
better.
something that's just because of New York state law.
correct. And then if
Good.
it does help, Joe,
After
That makes me
current,
feel
after current ownership, there's something where there's Allen's crematory
license
is
expired.
grandfathered.
They won't renew the license.
Yeah, that's my understanding. I don't know all the details on it. Natalie, you may know it from having the conversation, but I think New York State
It's
is,
actually traveling through the state of New York.
okay.
They were grandfathered and I happen to know.
Yeah.
And that facet of their business is a not-for-profit cemetery.
Oh,
So.
good, all right.
and if it does help,
Good, I feel
legality of
better.
it all, But it
Yep,
does
I
get,
feel better.
it does get at this point sunsetted out.
Yep.
But I don't know the timeframe.
Okay, good.
Is there anything that prevents anyone else from accessing the program though? I mean,
our program?
yeah, I mean,
No,
yeah.
no. And if it does help, Matt Rollo, who runs Allen's Funeral Home, did go to the Town of Union Board meeting and really help, Riverhurst and,
Good, all right,
and yeah, was telling how much this is needed and he was really for the project.
great. I feel so much better. Thank you.
I think you articulated the inherent challenge with economic development in
Yeah.
New York State generally.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
in
right.
a high cost state, it's always challenging.
No, you're right.
Those apples to apples.
It's,
In our portfolio, how does this compare to the size of loans we've been given? Is this one of the bigger ones? we've
This is
done?
one of the bigger ones, yes, yeah. I mean, we have not done a seed loan since 23. We haven't done, BDF loan since 22. So
Right.
I was really excited to bring this to you.
Yeah, good.
Some
All right.
So
activity.
the, and can I just ask the
Yeah.
committee, the Steve Loan Committee, is there, they're just advisory? Like, do they set anything that we don't like?
No, they don't do, no. You have
They're
final
just
approval.
totally
Yeah.
advisory.
Yeah, to make recommendations to the
They make
board.
recommendations to you.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, yep, it's just like the governance or.
Yeah, okay.
Yep,
Okay, good.
Any further questions for Natalie?
can't do anything without you guys.
Let's have a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Out of an abundance of caution, since M&T Bank is the bank for Riverhurst, I will abstain.
Thank you, Peter. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Item number 7, resolution authorizing the Southern East Economic Development STE loan program to expand its lending service area to include Schuyler, Steuben, and Chemung counties. Natalie.
Thank you, John. The Southern Tier East Economic Development, STEVE Revolving Loan Fund Program is designed to stimulate the creation and expansion of small businesses to retain and create jobs within Broome, Shenango, Portland, Delaware, Otsego, Tompkins, Tioga, and Schoharie counties in New York State, the 8-county STEVE region. Since the Appalachian Region Commission, ARC, has granted the agency full control of the loan fund, we now have the ability to expand beyond the original 8-county STEVE region. Expanding the STEVE loan program to include Schuyler, Steuben, and Chemung counties. It will further strengthen regional economic development by increasing access to capital for businesses and for not-for-profits, supporting local growth initiatives, and fostering greater collaboration across the Southern Tier. The expansion will help fill critical financing gaps in the underserved areas, align with county-specific economic priorities, and promote more equitable and inclusive economic growth throughout the region. Therefore, the ALC and I respectfully request your approval to add Schuyler, Steuben, and Chemung counties to the STEVE loan program service area.
I have, I guess, a couple of things.
Can I ask for a motion first?
Oh, sorry.
Is that a motion, Elaine?
Yeah.
Yeah, is there a motion? No? Is there a second? Does anybody want to move this?
Does anyone
forward?
move this?
I'll move it.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. Discussion, questions for,
Yeah, I actually have some reservations about this. Where does Southern Tier West Regional Planning stand in all of this? It's another regional planning agency, just like STIRB. And they have the same resources allegedly that the Southern Tier East region has. So where do they stand in all of this?
Well, so this is actually connected, going back to the origination of these loan funds, my gosh, back in the mid-70s to 80s. So these were ARC funds that the IDA received during that time frame. So they aligned with the Southern Tier East's regional geography. When they became unencumbered, we participated, so fun thing about New York State, again, we have different definitions of the Southern Tier depending on what you're talking about. Like, so for the Regional Economic Development Council, our region actually goes as far east to Delaware, all the way to Schuyler, but doesn't include some of the ARC counties that are covered by this loan. In the early years, I'm giving you a lot more than you probably need, but in the first years of the Regional Economic Development Council, I think it was 2011, we being the region, created 3 loan funds, revolving loan funds that are administered by an entity called STREETEC, which myself and my colleagues are on the STREETEC board, and then Natalie and others are on the loan committee. So there's a bunch of deal flow to do regional loans, but along that geography. So given that the funds were unencumbered now by the ARC definition of the Southern Tier, and given how much we interact with the other counties that make up the Southern Tier, we thought there would be alignment potentially to partner on some
Yeah,
loan
so let me
activity.
ask, does STIRB's sister agency, so Southern Tier East sister agency, which is Southern Tier West, that covers these counties, do they not have their own STEED loan
I
fund?
think that might actually be Southern Tier Central, and I don't,
No, that's Southern Tier West.
it's Southern Tier West?
Southern Tier Central would be, like Onondaga County.
Okay.
I don't know of
I
anybody
used to work
else.
for the
that do that.
Yes,
I
you're
used to
right.
work
I'm
for
sorry.
Southern
I'm
Tier East.
thinking
That's why I know
Chelsea.
all about
Yep,
this.
yep, yep.
I don't know if anyone else having STEVE loan funds.
No, it's never come up in our street act meeting. We were on a street act loan review and
I mean, they
the
might.
comment
they
came
might
up
be all
about are
loaned
there
out,
other
too.
loan funds that are
Yeah.
available to
Well,
partner with? and
So,
which is
so
what
that
this idea-
aside, I guess the other reservation I have is that $1 million, we're lowering the interest rate to 3%. And now we're no longer reporting this to the federal government. We've got a lot of flexibility with this program. And I feel that this is gonna become a much more popular program than it's been. And $1 million isn't gonna go very far for 8 counties. I guess I would be concerned about further spreading this out. That's just my feeling.
Any other comments or question?
So Elaine, I got my question. So you're saying like this million, you know, keeping it closer to home, there's more to go around. Yeah, okay. I wanted to understand. Yeah, with all these other counties, right?
Right, and
do.
some of the counties, some of those
Close
8
there.
counties, really seriously don't have many resources. You're looking at Delaware County. You know, some of those areas out that way really do not have a lot of resources, whereas these 3 counties, I think, do have a lot of resources. You know, as we all know, they've got a very active IDA. They do a lot there, and I think that personally, I'd rather reserve this money for our region, which probably
what
needs
you're
it more.
Mhm.
I get that point, but Natalie just told us this is the first steed loan we've had in 3 years.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is that, now that we're lowering the interest rate to 3%, and we have more flexibility since we're not reporting to the federal government anymore, I think it's gonna become a heck of a lot more popular. I really think it would, once word gets out on it.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments? Shall we have a vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed?
No,
Okay,
One step at a time, I guess.
That one dies.
The damage I'm gonna cause today.
I'd like to make a motion to enter executive session pursuant to Article 7 of the Public Officers Law, which allows the board to meet in executive session to discuss pursuant to Public Officers Law, Section 1051D and H, discussion regarding proposed litigation and the proposed acquisition of real property that, if discussed in open session, would substantially affect the value thereof. No decision or vote may be made or taken in executive session. At the end of the executive session, we will return to open public session. I will now entertain a second. Thank you, Dan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are in executive or about to go into executive session. How's that sound? Back in regular session, and note that the board discussed in closed session only those matters relating to the proposed sale by the agency of property. No decision or vote was made or taken during the executive session, and the time now is 1:33. Any other matter we want to discuss? Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Joe. Is there a second? Thank you, Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
All right.
Well done.